Hi everyone, I'm Bonn and today I'm going to make my daily edition as well as this week's video. So in this video, I'm going to go back to the basics, the importance, the details, and the definition of the word inflation, as well as some of the most dangerous variants of inflation. Note this is not a National Geographic video, and no animals, nor humans, nor plants were harmed during the making of this video. So, firstly, we must understand what inflation is. The definition of inflation, as most economic newspapers define it, as a general increase in prices, usually from 3 to 5 or 2 to 3%, depending on the country and economical issue at that time. The interest rate, we could call it CPI or Consumer Price Index. This means that, for example, in this year, I buy a phone that's $10,000, and in the next year, I buy and it's $11,000. This means that the price has gone up by 10%, which means that now the CPI has gone up by 10%. Now let's go to the dangerous National Geographic style variants that inflation has. There are two main variants that I think are important, that is hyperinflation and stagflation. As defined by the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, hyperinflation and stagflation. Firstly, stagflation. It is a persistently high inflation coupled with high unemployment, which means that a lot of people lose their jobs, and there is a really low demand in a country's economy, meaning that there's high inflation, high unemployment, no people have jobs, no money, so that there's really low demand in products. For example, ice cream, marshmallow, cotton candy, One Piece, clothes and books and Wi-Fi and stuff, which means that the economy is slowed down because of the economical problems. Secondly, we have hyperinflation, which is like the most dangerous variant of inflation the world has ever experienced. Some years back, Zimbabwe, which is a really notorious country known for the stagnantly high inflation, they went from $1 Zimbabwean dollars to 1 trillion Zimbabwean dollars, which means that hyperinflation is when prices skyrocket, which means that inflation can reach 3,000, 4,000, or maybe the worst case scenario, 10,000%, which means, for example, this year, maybe a chewing gum costs $1, but the next year it might cost $10,000, which is like just so ridiculous. Also, when facing the problem of stagnantly high prices, the government prints out money like mad. For example, we might have around $1 million in cash right now, but once hyperinflation gone up, the government prints out like so much money we can't even count. Those are the two of the most weird, strange, hilarious, and dangerous inflations variants that the world has ever experienced. And note that these variants, when I describe it, they might sound a little bit hilarious or funny, like Indian man wiggling, but instead they're not. Hyperinflation or stagflation can slow down an economy or fast forward so that it skyrockets and explodes, which can take up to 5 years to recover. In fact, inflation coupled with these variants, the USA has only recovered from a really large part of inflation, which their prices skyrocket up to almost 20%, which to be exact is 19%, which is the largest economical crisis since the Great Depression. So, what are the effects of inflation? If inflation's just there, why don't we just rip it off the book or erase it off the dictionary? The problem is inflation is responsible for almost every economical choice we make depending on our money and situation. Well, when the economy is slowing, inflation might go up and vice versa. This is because the government is trying to control the prices. Higher prices, business, consumer don't like to lend, buy, invest much, slowing down the economy and stopping prices to rise, and vice versa. So, in conclusion, inflation is just there. It's really dangerous because of its two variants affected a lot of businesses, individuals, and even whole countries, causing massive amounts of money. 1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars. That is all for my video for this week, and hope through my little talk everyone understands about hyperinflation, stagflation, and most importantly for this week, inflation. Thank you for listening and see you next week.